We do have a special guest, and this is not season 3 of Veteran Influencers. However, it's definitely a special episode here with my boy Jeremy Graves. And a quick little background about Jeremy. I met him in Iwakuni, Japan when I was stationed out there from 2014 to 2017. And, when we first got out there wasn't too much basketball going on. And eventually it started to grow, and I got a chance to meet a lot of different ballers that they had out there. And we definitely ended up having a lot of good ballers and some great games and great experiences out there. From basketball to entrepreneurship to just being an all-around great person. Also, a prior Marine as well. And just an overall great person and somebody that has literally proven the definition of if you need something, I got you throughout the years. So, hey, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Graves.
Glad to be here, man. I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. Whatever you need, however I can help, I'm in.
I need $1 million, bro. I'm just saying, listen, if there was
Hey, what's your Venmo? I'll start with $1 right now. $1 every day until I get there.
Oh my goodness, man. That'd be dope. So we do have something specifically that we want to talk about that kind of like what led up to this interview. Although we do have a past and this was something that we wanted to do before, I kind of want to start a little bit from the beginning and then work our way up to specifically what you have going on in the next 6 weeks. Is it 6?
6 weeks.
Hey, 6 weeks, baby. You know what I'm saying? But let's start with baby Jeremy. You know what I'm saying? I see how you are now. I want to know about baby Jeremy. What was it like growing up in Florida?
All right. So, again, thank you, Chris. My name is Jeremy Graves. I grew up in the East Coast of Florida. I was the only child, but I was a huge sports fanatic. Started out playing t-ball when I was 5. Played t-ball, then like midget ball. All the way up until like 4th grade is when I picked up basketball.
Right.
I still vividly remember my mom was doing dishes in the kitchen. My dad's in the dining room, and she had passed a sign on the way home from work that said West Melbourne Basketball League signups. Now, I don't know anything about sports. My parents didn't really know much about sports, and West Melbourne was like 40 minutes away. It was actually outside of our geographical area where I should have been playing.
Right.
But she's like, hey, do you want to play basketball? And where I lived as a kid, we lived across the street from my elementary school. So I would go every day. I would go to school early, and I would play against the older kids, the 6th graders, the 5th graders.
Right.
They would all just play basketball in the 8-foot goals. And like the 2nd grade, 3rd grade, no one would pick me up. So then I remember my dad one time started to show up to play with us, and they finally started to pick me up because my dad was there. And it was kind of like, if I'm going to be here, you got to pick up my son type of thing. That was like the first time I really connected with my father. And that's a big part of my story. So like 3rd grade, 4th grade, I played every morning with my dad, with these older kids. Then my mom comes home and says, hey, West Melbourne, they're signing up for basketball league. Do you want to play? And I said, I would love that. It would be awesome. So then every day I would drive all the way across town and I would play for West Melbourne Recreation League. Long story short, fast forward to the end of the year, my team wins the championship. I still remember hold on. I'm going to show you something.
Hey, all right.
So this year, my dad gave me this for my Christmas gift. This is probably the best gift I ever had in my life. Like,
okay, where we at?
I just hung this up in my house. This is every championship trophy, ribbon, everything. It is baseball, is basketball, is math. When I was on the math team, I was embarrassed of it in high school. Like, I was ranked nationally in math. Like, all of these, right? So it's crazy. So I played across the town, made the all-star team. Then people started to ask, like, yo, where do I live? Then all of a sudden they started to ask questions like, yo, you shouldn't have been playing in that league. So then I had to come back to the Palm Bay League.
Right.
It was crazy. Like as a kid, I didn't know any different. I just wanted to play. It didn't matter. And to this day, like I don't care. I just want to play. I want to play wherever. Like in high school, I would travel an hour and a half on a Saturday to go play. It was so hard to find games. I would travel to Orlando. I'd go from Melbourne to Orlando, Melbourne to West Palm Beach, Melbourne to Satellite Beach, Sebastian. It didn't matter. You just find me. You tell me where people are going. I'm gonna go play, and that's my story. You know that, Chris. Like I will do. You want to play at 3 a.m.? I'll play at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Like you've seen my house. I literally bought my house to put a basketball hoop in my living room. Basketball is like one love. I will do anything and everything to the day I die to play basketball. So that was like my intro to basketball was, this kid really knows what he's doing. Why is he playing across town? He needs to play in this league.
So they were saying that you were too good to be playing in the league that you were playing in.
Yeah, because I beat Palm Bay where I should have been playing.
Oh, so there was low-key recruiting you then.
Low key, like
and you ain't playing for the Lakers. You got to come back over here.
Yeah, you're not allowed to play in that league anymore. So then I went there and I won that league, and then I won another league. Like everywhere I went, that's where people just fell into my lap to win. And I'm not saying that from like a cocky standpoint. You know that.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But you know that I'm not. Like it's just where I go, people follow, and it's been like that from day one. Baseball, basketball, football, it didn't matter. And honestly, baseball was probably my best sport all the way up until my sophomore year of high school when I hyperextended my elbow in the state championship basketball game. Oh
yeah, we're definitely gonna get to there, but
so
just thinking about that hurts.
Yeah, it was tough. So like I played every sport growing up. And back to like my story, I came from an alcoholic family. And in order to escape that, I would throw my backpack on my back and I would ride my bike to the park. And in my backpack, I would have a basketball, my baseball glove, and football cleats. And whenever I got to the park, whatever people were playing, that's the sport I played that day. Because that was my escape. I would be able to read my father's facial expressions, knowing if he had been drinking, I'm going to the park, and I'm not coming back until the lights turn on. Because at that point, I knew he would be asleep, and I hated him for that, and I hated everything about my childhood because all I wanted was my father's approval. I did anything and everything I could for him to accept me, for him to give up alcohol to be proud of me, right? And I can say that now because as an adult, him and I have had that conversation about where I was as a kid and how I love him now as an adult. And as an addict, like I'm not a drug addict, but like I can see his struggle and I can relate. And up till a few years ago, I couldn't. But now I can see that his struggles are everyone's struggles. And as a kid, I couldn't see that. But I tried so much to like prove my value to him. But it was never enough. So all the accolades, all the write-ups, all the news articles, all the news press, the websites, all the reviews that I had as a standout basketball player were never enough because all of these people really looked up to me, but my father didn't see it. So I always try to outdo myself. Maybe this isn't enough. Maybe if I could score 25 a game, if I could score 30 a game, if I could dunk, if I could make the All-Star team, if I could make the All-State team, if I could make the All-Nike team. That was all just empty promises. And
so none of your parents made it to any of your games, or?
My mother never missed a single game. My mother missed one game of my entire life. She missed one baseball game, and it was my first game I hit a home run. Chris, she used to come, she would sit in the stands of basketball practices. She never left.
Yo. Shout out to all the moms out there. Hey, there ain't just soccer moms. Hey, they got hoop moms too. And where all the hoop moms at?
Only child. My mom had a Ford Windstar van to drive all of the players. Wherever she went, she had the starting 5 or at least the starting 6 in the baseball lineup. I like this is like when she used to have to print out like MapQuest directions. Yeah, you got me.
They don't remember MapQuest.
Yeah, so those kids these days, they don't get it. You used to have to like print out where you were going.
And you had to pull over and be like.
So she would wake up with anxiety every day when we have AAU tournaments or travel ball, because she would be worried because she's like, yo, if I don't get us there in time, we're going to lose. Because I had all the starters. Yo, my mom is she's a beast, bro. She had a bed that she would take out the back seat to the Windstar on AAU tournaments, lay down a mattress so that I could sleep between games. Committed.
Bro, but were you committed? Why are you sleeping between games? No,
I'm tired, bro. I'm in. Like I ain't gotta watch. I don't have to watch other teams. I know I'm gonna get mine. I'm not worried.
Bro, you know what's crazy?
I'm gonna put up 30 tomorrow in the next hour. Give me a break.
Paquetos. And you know what's crazy about that is like, but even between pickup games, I would always see people go sit down. Like, I can't do it. I like between games, I'm like, no matter how tired I am, I'm like, all right, let's go. Keep rolling.
Bro, 2 weeks ago, I was laying down in the grass.
No, you weren't. I don't believe you.
Yeah, I was.
Hey, pics or it didn't happen?
Between, oh, fine. I'll take pictures next time. Yeah, like between, like I'm asking questions in the game. Like, hey, what score? Oh, hold on, wait, what's going on? Like, I'm gasping for breath. Like, are people cutting off the air? Like, how is the oxygen level lower than it is? Like, I am struggling to breathe. But no, I get it. Like, when I was younger and I was super in shape, yeah, I could go back to back. No water break, none of that. Now I gotta like stretch and look at like the gravitational pull. Where's the moon at, and the high tide. What's the tide look like? It's not.
You have to like mid game get in tune with your chakras and like what I'm saying.
So that was me as a child. I played every sport, man. It didn't matter what it was. I was just an athlete, and I loved everything about sports because as an only child, that's where I met my friends. Like, I didn't have brothers and sisters to ask questions about, and it didn't matter what sport I played, I performed well.
Right.
And it was a platform that allowed me to be seen. Right. So
now, do you think that was because you're an only child? Because I've seen a lot of only child athletes. I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of them seem to be more of the selfish type. The ones that they're more about getting points than they are sharing the basketball, or they care more about how many home runs did you hit rather than winning, or their individual stats are more important to them than the overall team success.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I would greatly my childhood, I guess I had a very lucky opportunity to have some great coaches in my life at a young age, where we succeeded as a team, which showed me how important it was that the we is bigger than the I.
Right.
So, like in baseball, for like the Little League World Series, we went to the Southeast regions. And I had the opportunity to play with some great players who ended up going on to play in the MLB. A lot of them are just absolute studs when it comes to baseball.
Right.
And you would not know the difference because of our coaching. That we as a team have to work better than we as an I. I hope that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
So that's just baseball. Basketball was the same way. We is more important than the I. Like, I remember in high school, like I played for basketball. My freshman year, I played freshman. My sophomore year, I was a starter on varsity, and we went to state. We went to state that year. And there wasn't a time where I could play more than like 4 minutes at a time because I would be gassed. I'm talking 94 feet, full court, man-to-man, full court press. Yep. Slide. To the point where like we had 2 all-state players, Stevie Johnson, Andrew Mims. I still remember Stevie's one of my best friends. Andrew Mims, the most stud point guard and shooting guard in the state. There would be times where we would ask to come out of the game because we couldn't breathe. That's how hard we pushed each other, but we knew we couldn't do it without our counterparts. So like we were 10 deep, and it didn't matter what 10 was on the court. We're gonna run, and we're gonna run fast.
Right.
We're gonna run hard, and that's how we succeeded. And like back to your question or your statement, like only children only care about themselves. I get that a lot. Like I hear that a lot. I guess I heard that a lot, not anymore. But I could have seen that as a child, and I've learned a lot growing up that if it's only about me and I only talk about me, no one really listens.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. That happens a lot. That the only child syndrome, I guess is what you're talking about.
Right.
And I was definitely an only child syndrome person for a lot of my youth. So yeah, I could definitely see that.
That's crazy too, because for those of us that are in the military, a lot of us do have some type of competitive trait. Some people are just not so much, and some people just not to the extent of others. Like, I think OT is extremely competitive, but it's not that I'm not. It's not that I'm less competitive than him. I just go about it differently.
So were you there when I sent OT to the ER?
What happened?
I tried to dunk on him on a fast break. Yeah.
OT, if you out there, hey, is this cap or is this?
This is the truth. It's every.
Tagged him too in the video.
You can ask Gunny T. Yo, he knows about it. He rounded out. I rounded out. I tried to take off. I hit him with an elbow. I split his lip.
Oh, I think I did hear about it. I just didn't know who did it.
It's just me. Like it. I felt so bad, but it was above the rim. It was him and me. He took off, I took off, and it just didn't. It could have went either way.
Did he block it, or did you actually?
To be honest, I don't remember the outcome. It wasn't a.
Oh, you don't remember that part, but you remember.
It was just body in the air, and then I remember like I split his lip, and I felt so bad because like before you got there, he was the only person I wouldn't pick up either. Because I loved playing against him because he was unstoppable. Like,
dude, the beast. Shout out OT.
Yeah, OT. I love you, bro. Shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot. It was unstoppable. Within 16 feet, put a 2 on the board, and we'll come back the other way. Like
a little midi is dangerous.
Yeah,
Yo, and he's so much quicker than he because it seems like he's not moving fast when he's doing some of those things, or even when he's dribbling. I was like, oh, I can keep in front of that. But some of those moves, I'm like, bro, those hezzies when he does it, I'm like, god dang.
Yeah, and then when I'm gonna tell him this right now, when he did start to shoot and he would start to make some threes, it was a wrap.
Yeah. No matter what he threw up, it was going in.
Correct. It was like me. It was like me sometimes, pebble in the ocean. If I hit 2 in a row, it's anybody's guess. I'm gonna put up 50. It's just the way it's gonna work.
Bro, those are the most frustrating games because you know why I say that? Because where was I at? I went to Okinawa for a little bit, and I had this. Now I always felt that my shooting was pretty good, but like this was one of those nights.
Stop being modest, bro.
No, but listen, this was like times 10. I could turn around backwards and throw it over my shoulder. The ball was going in.
Oh, I agree.
And I started doing that. I was like, I'm gonna just start.
Yeah. There are days like that, bro.
Bro, it was ridiculous. I'm like, I was fading away from half court, and everyone's like, bro, you're not even like that. And I just kept laughing, and I just kept doing it. They're like, oh, that was last game. Came out the next game, took one step in from the half court, and just, they're like, somebody guard quit letting him shoot.
Bro, when I tell you last Monday, I literally played 4 games. All 4 game winners were from half court.
What?
It was comical. There wasn't a single foul that was called the whole time because all it was people clowning everybody that was guarding me. It was crazy to the point where we'll get to the I got next. But after I finished my 4th game, I said, hey, can I have everybody's attention real quick? And for like 15 minutes, I had 60 people's attention, fully engaged, no one shooting, everyone just school circle, put it that way. Military school circle around me.
Who bounced the ball? Pick it up. Shh.
Yep, it was it. Everyone's like, yo, what? And I explained like, yo, this is what I got next is going to do. This is how it's going to change the game. And multiple people were like on their phones, like, hey, it's not on the market right now. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's got like 6 more weeks. They're like, oh my God, this thing just sounds amazing.
It does.
So, yeah, I get it, man. Pebble in the ocean, half court, it doesn't matter. I probably could have thrown it under my leg. I could have kicked it in. It would have went in. It didn't matter.
Threw it off someone's head and it went in. Nah, but yeah, like I said, big shout out to my boy OT. So
I love you too.
Yeah. So the whole competitive aspect I was saying about most people that join the military, is that what kind of drew you to the military or what made you want to join? Or did you have like some family members that joined or?
So I was the first military member to join the military.
Okay.
My father didn't do it. My parents didn't do it. Come to find out, my grandfather did, which is a very funny story. So my recruiter was my neighbor. He knew that I had a basketball opportunity playing for FGCU. He was like, hey, if you potentially want to be in the Marines, you could probably be an officer. You can go into the DEP program. Then you can go into the PLC program. This is how it could work out. And I had 100% bright futures for my grades and my SAT. And he's like, yeah, you can just look at this as an option. So nobody in my family was in the military. Come December 2005, I'm at my grandfather and my grandmother's house. We're going there for Christmas. And I'm like, oh, next week I'm going to boot camp. And my grandfather's like, what branch? And I said, Marines. He goes, good. If you'd have said any other branch, I would have told you to get out of my house. He's got a Purple Heart. He's got crazy stories. But up to that day, he had never mentioned military. He never even flew a flag in his front yard. From that day forward, he flew a Marine Corps flag and American flag in the front yard. He went and he paid somebody to put in a flagpole in his front yard. That's the only person that was a military member in my entire family. So it was kind of just like divine intervention. Like I truly believe like everything happens for a reason. People are put in your life at the right times for the right reasons. And my neighbor just happened to know that I'm a person that takes challenge as well. And just like you said, like I don't like to lose. It didn't matter. And next thing you know, I'm at boot camp, January 10th, 2006.
Like it could be a spelling bee. It could be ping pong. You gonna get this work.
That's it. I'm gonna figure out a way to make it to the finals. And I don't know how to spell, but I didn't know how to spell very well.
Oh man.
But
so transitioning into the military, you know, you kind of talked about like how others felt about you joining and where the motivation came from. But what was your experience like? Not only going through recruit training, but also like your first few months to a year in the military.
Okay, so So I was in the reserves for the first 6 years. So
Right.
January 10th, I go to boot camp. I loved boot camp. Parris Island it was not
Stop
something.
lying.
I had an 18-minute 3 mile, and there was nothing you could do that could really. I was in great shape. Like,
Right.
it was. So again, you know this probably more than most, but I went into boot camp thinking I've got 3 personal trainers, I've got a health and nutrition specialist. They're going to regulate my food intake. They're going to regulate my sleep.
Yeah.
And I took it as like, they're going to get me in the best shape to get back to college basketball. That's how I took it.
Right.
So I was the up until, so Brian Vela was the guide.
Right.
I was first
Squad leader?
Yeah, first squad leader, and then him and I would interchange throughout the 13 weeks. And Brian Vela is like, literally, I talked to him literally yesterday. Like, I still talk to him all the time. I was supposed to meet up with him when I went to Vegas 2 weeks ago. Like, he is one of my best friends still to this day. And he'll vouch for everything I'm saying, that the physical fitness part of boot camp didn't really challenge me.
Right.
And the leadership style really didn't challenge me. So I enjoyed boot camp because I took it as a different aspect. Like I took it as like a personal trainer to get me back in shape for college.
So your biggest struggles throughout recruit training was, how can you make yourself more physically fit? Everything else to you was easy. Now remember, you're looking from the outside and something you've accomplished already. So while you're going through stuff, things always seem to be a lot more stressful than when you complete it.
I told my mother to stop writing me because I wanted more sleep at night. I'm fine. I'll see you in 13 weeks.
Dang.
I
wanted my letters. Forget that.
Different breed. Like I had her send me the sports articles every Sunday so that I could just read what was happening. That's all I cared about. Like when Kobe put up 80, I was in boot camp. I still remember that. I still remember that article. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm not saying it wasn't a challenge. Like, it's definitely tough. It's not easy. But like, I went into boot camp in really good shape, and that made things a lot easier for me. And mentally, like I was on my own from 16.
Right.
So it was just another day in the park for me, I guess.
That's a great analogy going into what we're going to be talking about later on, talking about another day in the park. Okay, so we talked about recruit training. Obviously, there's a set schedule with how things go for that.
Yeah.
And was it to your expectations, or did it exceed your expectations?
Oh, no, I was not prepared for recruit training.
Okay.
Like, I'm not saying like, oh, it was an easy walk, like super. It was tough. Like, it was very difficult.
Right.
But lucky enough, I was in good shape that it didn't really like kill me.
Right. Well, my boy Anthony said, let's get his drone shot on the line. Yes. He said, let's put him on this the Zoom call real quick.
You want to know a funny story?
Pull up your McTim docs and see.
No, my senior drill instructor was actually on the drill field at Quantico when I went back through OCS.
Oh, wait, say that again?
My senior drill instructor,
right,
was a platoon sergeant when I went back through OCS.
Oh, wow.
Bro, from the woods, I heard him. We're walking across the
what did he say?
Oh, no. It was funny. We're walking across, and this is when I was going through OCS, I was the guide at this point. We're walking across the parade deck, and I break bearing going, I know that voice. My gunny calls me into the office and goes, what happened earlier? I go, is that Sergeant Cornegay? They're like, you mean Gunny Cornegay? I go, Yeah, that was my senior drill instructor. They go, you want to meet him? I go, yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah. At least it wasn't a green belt. It's like, hey, you want to meet your eighth hat? You're like, not so much.
But yeah, that's crazy that you say that. Like, yeah, my senior drill instructor was one of the platoon sergeants when I went through OCS.
That's dope. I actually ran into my J when I was at the AMOI meeting in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually ran into him. He's a captain. I think he picked up captain. Yeah, he's a captain now. But he had like 1 year left or whatever. Or well, he was at 20, but they said he was going to have to do another year. You know, if he wanted to retire with 10 years in order to retire that rank, so he had to do an extra year. I think he was big mad about that. But
yep.
All right, so we talked about the kind of your expectations for recruit training, the reasons, what you were trying to get out of it, what you felt you were getting out of it as far as challenge. You definitely want to challenge yourself physically. Obviously, there are some other aspects that kind of went along with it, but so kind of after recruit training, obviously you go on your leave, but then you go to MCT or SOI. Obviously, you were in infantry, so you went to MCT.
Correct.
And so let's talk about MCT, and then like kind of like your A and your C school. So like the junior portion leading up to the fleet.
So MCT was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Again, it's not much other than getting you ready for the fleet, I guess you could say. Not that you're getting ready for infantry. It's just, I feel like it's a standby to get you for your seat for MC or for your MOS school. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Again, I was in good shape, so it wasn't much for me to worry about long hikes and sleeping outside. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, I had fun at MCT, to be honest. Yeah. And I don't know if it did for you, but so we had to, I'm sure you're going to touch on this, but we had to dig fighting holes.
Oh, yeah.
And it rained. Like, we were supposed to sleep in it.
I had like 3-4 inches of rain in I'm like, whatever, man. I'm from Florida. I'm used to rain. Like, it's just raining. It is what it is.
I got smart. I dug walls. So I buried down, but I dug across.
Yeah.
And I built something to come over, like with my tarp to block the rain from getting into it. I was the only dry one when we got up in the morning. I was like, everyone's soaked in cold.
I gotta fast forward real quick. So talk about being smart. When I was going through, so after I had commissioned, as I was going through Quantico for the officer training,
right?
It was super cold one night. I went through Alpha. So
what month?
Arctic Alpha through Quantico.
January?
Yeah.
Oh.
Stupid cold, right? And somebody made some egregious broke the rules for some stupid reason, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're not allowed to put up huts. We're not allowed to put up we just have to sleep in the snow, right? They give me 1 hour before we go to sleep. I made a one-man 6 foot by 2 foot log cabin.
Oh, what?
I just went and found a bunch of like fallen trees in the woods and made a one-person log cabin. Layered it with pine needles, 3.5 foot high, and I went to sleep in it. I was like, "You guys are letting me sleep under my poncho?" Nope. I'm gonna make a log cabin.
Oh, on some Man vs. Wild-ish, huh?
So yeah. So MCT was fun. I enjoyed it. I agree. It was a good time. We go to my A school. It was out in 29 Palms. I was a radio tech. And
no.
Yeah. A funny story is that school was like 3.5 months long. And what's the first thing I do when I get to a base? The first thing I did.
Look for the hoops.
That's it. I walked right to the gym. It was across the desert. I walked over there. Yep, game number 1. I just happened to walk into the base CO who was also on the base basketball team. And he goes, hey, what's your name? I go, PFC Graves.
Yeah.
He goes,
Having the crust out of your eyes still.
Yeah, he's like, who are you with? I'm like, oh, I'm here for school. He goes, mm-mm. So the next day, he shows up to the training school. Attention on deck. Everybody's losing their mind. He goes straight to the CO of the training school and says, hey, PFC Graves, I don't know if you know this or not. He's now on the base basketball team. I'll make sure he doesn't fail any of your classes, but he's playing with the base team.
Okay.
He showed up every day in his Chrysler 300, picked me up at 11 o'clock. We would practice from 11 to 1. He would drive me to the gym. We would practice for 2 hours. He would drive me back to class.
Shut up. Are you serious?
I swear to you.
That was the base CO?
Yeah. It was a full bird colonel. The dude he would never stop running. We went all over the West Coast.
That's crazy. Oh, you know what's crazy? I honestly, I probably know who you're talking about. I can't remember names right now, but I remember there being we played against 2 different colonels whenever we played 29 Palms.
Yep.
So I think I know who you're talking about.
Dude never stopped running. I hated guarding him in practice because this is back when I played well above the rim.
Right.
So like I was dunking all the time, and that's when he's like, "Yo, who the F are you? And where did you come from? You're on the base team. Come. You're playing." So that was my A school. Again, I actually really enjoyed that. I learned a lot there because I learned like how to test to see if something's wrong, because you don't want to pay for something. If it's a circuit board, you want to buy a new circuit board. If it's the cable that could have been $8 in comparison to $800 for a circuit board.
Right.
So it allowed me to learn how to do a checking system in order to go from start to finish to make sure that what I'm telling my platoon sergeant that we need to order, that's the right thing in order to make this whole communication system work. And I feel like I learned a lot by that because it taught me a lot about technology up to now. Right. So then that was my basic school. Then I go back into the reserves. I was in the reserves for 6 years.
Okay. Now that's every weekend. Like, was it 2 weekends a month or 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year?
1 week a month, 2 weeks a year, except for the summers that I went back to OCS.
Okay.
That made me non-deployable, which was a really positive thing for me at the time, so that I could focus on school, also make a lot of extra money that would go towards school, as long as I knew at the back end of my degree I would accept my commission to the Marine Corps, which I had already planned to do that. So it was like a free check in the mail. So I did that. So I was drilling in Tampa while going to school in Fort Myers. Graduated college in 2010. Went through so I went to OCS in 2006, 2010. Graduated college in 2010, and then went to Quantico for our training from January 2013. So it took me a couple of years to actually get back to Quantico because of my tattoo waivers and some of the other things that were in my package.
Right.
And then went back active duty into the fleet in October 2013.
Damn. That's crazy because I think, you were a first lieutenant when I met you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I was a first lieutenant when I got to the fleet. That's how long it took me to get out of my commission up to Quantico.
Okay. Yeah, so
I got promoted in the schoolhouse prior to going to the fleet. That's how long it took me to get to the fleet.
Were you all salty or what?
Very.
Who are these second lieutenants?
not that. I was just like, yo, for almost 2 years, it was just excuse after excuse to get me back to active duty, to get me into active duty. It was just, there was a lot of things that didn't rub me the right way.
Right.
But I knew how the game worked. Like, just shut up and color, eat the crayons, and lick the windows. I get it.
That's funny. So you transitioning to becoming an officer. So what are some of the main differences that you felt, as being enlisted and being officer?
It's lonely.
Especially for those that are like, actually, I'm sorry to interrupt, but especially for those that are looking to transition from the enlisted side to officer side. Like, what are some of the main differences? And don't hold back, because just remember, you're not in anymore, so you can.
Oh, bro. All right. It's lonely at the top. And it's called the dark side for a reason. So when you're enlisted, you can bullshit with a lot of people, and everybody is open to hear it. On the officer side of things, it's about fit reps, it's about promotion, and it's about how you look to your peers. And when you go on deployments, you need to just stay by yourself. And I wasn't good at that. I wasn't somebody willing to separate myself from my Marines. I wanted to be in the dirt. I wanted to be filling sandbags. I wanted to control airplanes. I had on a number of occasions stood security from midnight to 2 a.m. because I wanted my guys to get sleep. You really can't do that. Like, you're expected to do other things, and that can be perceived the wrong way from your peers, and your peers being the other officers. So not holding back, it's a tough transition, completely honest, because you have to forget a lot of the things that you went through. You can relate back to them. You can tell your Marines about them, but you have to be able to differentiate your career now in comparison to your career when you first started.
As far as what, and what's the reason behind that?
Because you're not expected to do that anymore. You're not supposed to stay security from midnight to 2 a.m. I get it.
Okay, you gotta be on that one.
Like you shouldn't be doing that. But like I've done that on Christmas Eve. I've done that on New Year's Eve. Like, I'm on base, I'm not doing anything else. I'll hold down this for a couple hours, why not? And some people don't take that as a good thing.
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of hard for me transitioning from being a sergeant to a staff NCO, because as a sergeant, I was already kind of like doing like staff NCO type things. But there were a few things that I was always like right there with my sergeants, with, you know what I'm saying? Like we were always, I mean, don't get it twisted. They get that work, but I think
don't get it twisted that I didn't work my guys either. Like, I ran them to death too. When you guys, like, there was a time in my career that there had potentially, or there may have been, underage drinking in the barracks. Maybe. And instead of doing paperwork, I had a 24-story air traffic control tower that the staircase hadn't been mopped in a while.
Oh, what?
So Don't get me wrong. Like, I know how to play the games. And that Marine was happy to swab the staircase rather than lose rank and get put on a liberty risk.
Right.
So, Yeah, there are definite times where I can play the game, but I don't know. I guess I didn't play it well enough from the officer side of things during my career.
Perspective. And that was the other thing. It's at a sergeant major, it was like, hey, you need to start hanging out with staff and TOs. I was like, you know, like, and this is probably gonna come out bad, but I never thought of myself as someone that would hang out with staff and TOs. Like, even from coming up, and it also depends on like how you view staff and TOs when you're coming up. Like, I
never looked at myself more important than anyone else. Like, I put my socks on one at a time with my boots on one at a time. This is the analogy I used to use all the time with my junior Marines. Would be, just because I've been in longer than you doesn't make me more important to you.
Bro, I'm telling you, if I had $1 for every time I've literally said that, I'm like, what is the difference between me and you? They're like, oh, well, I was like, no, I've just been in longer than you. I joined before you. If anything, I'm looking at my Marines, I'm like, I was not half as smart as you guys are now. You probably, like MOS wise, you would have ran circles around me. You know what I'm saying? At that point. But I always took it as like a blessing that my Marines should always be better than I was.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if everybody had that mentality, things will always improve. You know, people, here's a quick analogy. We're talking about sports, right?
Yep.
You know, people are always talking about how so-and-so is better than this person. Oh, because of technology. Oh, because of this. Oh, because that person studied this person's moves or something. You should take it as an honor and a privilege that the people after you are going to typically be better. You could probably say Jordan's an exception to the rule, but as far as people after him, but typically as the years go on, right? There's certain athletes
should be getting better.
Yeah.
They should be.
They absolutely should. Like, people said that nobody would ever be better than this person. And you look back, like, oh, there's LeBron, there's Kobe, there's Tim, you know, there's Hakeem. And it's just like,
yeah, there should be a progression that if you aren't better than I am, I feel like I didn't do a good job. And I would tell my Marines this every day, and you can ask any of them. I said, every day during our brief, prior to getting on position, I would say, hey, do me a favor. Suck a little bit less today than you did yesterday.
Pause. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's it. Everybody makes mistakes, but let's just suck a little bit less. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm just saying, you know.
Don't be as bad as yesterday.
Yeah. If you made some mistakes yesterday, let's just not make those today.
I like that. I mean, it's true. You know,
I told you this yesterday on the phone. I said, yo, just be a little bit better today than you were yesterday, Chris. That's it. Small incremental improvements. You're talking about your own physical fitness and how you want to get back into shape. Just be a little bit better than the day before. That's it. You know your physical fitness. I know my physical fitness. I'm not asking people to tell me what I'm in shape because I know my shape.
Right.
And you know your shape.
Right.
You know where you need to be in order to get back to where you were.
Right.
I don't need people to tell me that. People don't understand. Like, I'm going to hold myself to a higher standard because I used to be at this level. I'm probably never going to get back there, but I'll try. I'll try to get back to that step.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. My boy Load said, MJ the best ever. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I can't dispute that, Load. I can't dispute that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can always argue it, but I can't shun you for having that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because of your opinion.
Right.
I have VHS tapes from floor to ceiling of every game he's ever played. That's all I used to do was just obsess over his tape.
Facts. Dude was a monster, man.
Yes. He was more athletic than anybody in his prime. There was nobody that could shake a stick to his athleticism.
Even if you look at vertical jump, you had the Dominique Wilkins, who was probably the best two-footed jumper at that point. As far as off, like with speed, right? You could argue and say that Charles Barkley was probably the best vertical two-footed jumper for his height.
For kids these days that don't know, Sir Charles used to be athletic. My man used to be athletic.
Dude, Charles Barkley was 6'4", used to just vertically go up, back stretch it, it's like over people. It was ridiculous. And his legs were like that big. Like the dude, obviously he ended up like getting a little chubby like toward the end and stuff, but like his athleticism.
Like hamburgers. My man likes to eat. That's it. Stop hating on him.
Him and Shaq started hanging out. That's what it was. Oh man. Oh, my boy, Lock and Loaded said Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp wasn't that much of a vertical jumper. I'm not saying he didn't have a vertical, but Sean Kemp was almost 6'10".
Embarrass people.
Well, Sean Kemp was 6'10", and could he vertical? Yeah, he could vertical dunk, but we're talking 6'10" compared to 6'4". The stuff that Charles Barkley was doing 6 inches. Like, imagine having 6 inches. How tall are you right now?
6'1".
Imagine being 6'7".
I can't.
Dude, I'm 6'2". Do you understand what I would do if I was 6'9"?
No, I don't. The same reason why I can't imagine being. No, Chris, I would have never met you. You would have known about me, but I would have never met you.
You would have been like, denying me in the DMs, and I was trying to figure out, sir, can you help me with my shot and my vertical jump?
Nah, sorry. I'll get you some courtside tickets. Orlando Magic, 6th man.
Listen, I'll break into that arena.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the sum of my military career, start to finish.
How do you, like, as far as looking back as a whole, one, would you recommend it to other people?
Oh, hell
yeah.
Yeah? Hell yeah. Exact start to finish for mine. If you know that you want to be an officer, go the exact route I did. You're going to make so much money. I have no college. I have no college debt. I have no student loans. I got paid to go to college. It was awesome. But you need to commit to your career being a Marine officer once you get your degree, and you have to at least finish your first enlistment. But hell yeah, exact start to finish. Go be a reservist, run that gravy train till it's almost empty. Go straight to your OSO, find an OSO to get you into that program, and then have your OSO call your unit in order for them to know that you want to be an officer to make you non-deployable. You'll make all the money you need to through college. No,
that's... Before I get to this next one, my boy Locke said, what about Zion? Now, Zion's about 6, what is he, 6'6"?
I'm potentially about to slam my computer. Zion is a different beast.
Yeah, like, don't get it twisted. I'm just saying, I was saying in that era. He was talking about in Michael Jordan's era. I wasn't saying of all time. I was saying in the era, because he was speaking about how Michael Jordan was so much more athletic than everyone else. So what I was trying to do was I was trying to contrast aspects of fitness that people had. Like Dominique Wilkins wasn't as quick and agile as Michael Jordan was, but he guaranteed can jump higher off of 2 feet. I can almost guarantee, like, he was way more powerful.
Zion's terrifying.
What's that?
Zion is terrifying.
No. I was talking about Dominique Wilkins. Yeah.
I'm getting back to his statement. What about Zion? Zion is literally...
He's a freak of nature. Listen, the dude is 360 windmilling at 280. What?
In high school.
From, like, 1 foot inside the free throw line.
So, yeah. My man is going to... You know what's actually what I thought about the other day is I think Zion, and I hope to God I'm wrong, is the same thing that happened to Bo Jackson. He's too big, and something's going to happen where his leg just explodes.
Well, Bo Jackson was also doing, with these different sports, when you at high level, first of all, basketball has a lot of cutting and a lot of coming down on your joints.
Correct.
Football has a lot of, like, you're putting all your weight in one area and then trying to shift and hit at the same time. So the thing about Bo Jackson was he was a freakish athlete. The dude ran. I looked it up the other day. He ran. I think he broke 4.2. It was like a 4.2. Actually, I think it was like a 4.21. I can't remember if he broke 4.2, but why? Why did God just go? Nah, fam, you got all the...
You have an You have some extra salt. Like I just see Zion being Bo Jackson of the NBA. Like just freak athlete out of this world, larger than he needs to be, an explosion out of this world. And like I know my body, and I played above the rim for a lot of years. He's way bigger than me. There's no way his knees don't blow out. And I hope to God I'm wrong, because I love watching him play. But he's just so explosive and so strong at such an agile body type. I'm not talking like strong like Shaq, where he just rips rims off. I'm talking like...
No, he's that strong too.
From 21 feet out, he's still beasting dudes.
So remember, they had, when Shaq, like when people started breaking backboards and like when Shaq kept bringing the rims down, they changed how they made that stuff. It's like they reinforced the backboards. They changed the rim to the strength of when it broke away, it didn't rip off of the actual backboard. So
and they changed the hydraulic system inside the actual arm. Like I get that.
You don't think Zion would have ripped those rims down back then?
Yes, that dude is a monster,
bro. Him and Blake Griffin. You don't see many people bend the rim from the side.
Yeah, you're right.
That dude was, he caught, I remember Blake Griffin caught one time and pulled it sideways. You know how hard it is, even if you try to pull that, you know?
Yes. I'm aware of how absolutely insane both of them are. So yeah, back to your boy's point. Yes, Zion, monster.
No, absolutely, yeah. And like I said, I was just kind of comparing that one particular era as far as, and the whole concept was people behind you or that come after you should be better, more skilled. That's why, on average, basketball teams have better shooters than they did back then, have better ball handlers than they did back then, and people can play multi-positions better than they did back then. Yeah. You know, Greg Ostertag wasn't doing no, like... Yeah. You got Jokic pulling up from three-point line, Hezzy, and you step to the side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, all right, so you said that you would definitely recommend the Marine Corps to those joining, whether it's officer or enlisted. But there was a point that I definitely want to speak about your experience being in the military. It's your experience transitioning out. Maybe not necessarily the way that you wanted to have, but I definitely like to touch on that.
Yeah, so you know my story, man. So I had mentioned and touched on it that I wasn't an officer that was able to disengage from my junior Marines. And I wanted to be a part of that. And I wasn't able to learn how to be that type of officer. And without getting into the details, I actually got NJP'd because of that, which forced me out of the Marine Corps. It's tough because I was at 12 years. I would have stayed in forever. And my immediate CO said that he lost trust and faith in my leadership because of it. Whether that's correct or not, that's all it takes on the dark side is one person to write that and your career's done. Fully my responsibility. I could have done things differently. But I've had some time to reflect and I would have done things a little bit different, but not much. But I've taken that as a learning experience and turned that into a positive. Rather than being depressed over it, regretting it, wishing it wouldn't have happened, I just woke up the next day and realized that life goes on and my boots will get filled by somebody else, just like the Sergeant Major's boots will get filled as soon as he leaves as well. There's nothing that I can do, nor can anyone do, that makes you more important than the next Marine to fill your boots. It is what it is.
That's a great way of putting it, like with a positive outlook on it. You know, I'm sure it wasn't always positive because I don't know if I would have been positive all the time.
You knew do that. Like you and I had one-on-one conversations about it during that whole process, which I appreciate. I appreciate the conversations I can have with you during that, because there were a lot of times where I questioned my decisions, and you know my leadership and you know my heart, and it just happened. Nothing I can do about it. But there's nothing I would do differently.
Hey, you made a decision. You stuck by it. You obviously you were man enough to accept your, the repercussions or what followed from it. And that's what's difficult sometimes when you try to be a better leader. You try to do things different that maybe not so much as the status quo of how everybody else does it. I find myself like that sometimes. Like,
I definitely didn't do it the way that most people did it.
Yeah, people tell me I have like an unorthodox leadership style, but I don't feel like you can just create this cookie cutter leadership style and expect it to just be, it's because we've all grown up around leadership that do things a certain way. Yeah, we're used to it being a certain way, but it just gets old after a while because it doesn't seem real.
Yeah. So yes, you're right. Things are different. But let's get to the entrepreneurial side of this. Let's get to what we talked. What caused you to want to bring me onto your YouTube channel?
Yo, all right. So my man pretty much like just hit over his experience being in the military. So for those of you guys that are thinking about joining, go ahead and hit me up, man. You can hit me up at veteraninfluencers@gmail.com. You can just DM me on any of my Instagram, veteran_influencers, or you can just leave a message, comment here on my YouTube channel. But so I was talking to a lot of my friends, and I was telling, some of the issues that I brought up to you prior to this. So I'm gonna have to take a little bit of credit for this. No, I'm just kidding.
Do whatever you need to do. I can pull up pictures. I can pull up images. I can pull up where it all started.
Listen, I will never try to take credit for somebody's hard work. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, and even if I did have something to do with it, I still wouldn't take credit for it, But my boy has helped to solve a great problem. And I remember being in Japan with him, and I would always talk about what is the issue? Why can't, I want to just see the different places to play basketball at. Like, why is it so hard to get people to want to play basketball? Like, what is it that I'm missing? So we started out by, starting the Iwakuni Ballers page on Facebook.
You started that, not we. You started that.
Hey, like you said, maybe I'm just too modest sometimes, man.
You are.
It's a team effort.
Where credit's due. You started a great page, and it helped a lot. So keep going. Continue. I just didn't want you to. I don't want to take credit where it's not my responsibility for the Iwakuni Ballers page. You did that.
I appreciate that. So
that's why I made you your basketball and your going away gift.
Oh man! So the Iwakuni Ballers page was started. You like how I did that? And what it did was it allowed a central location for those that are seeking to be able to participate in basketball during different times. Right? I was one of the admins that was on there. I would post the times that we're hooping, and essentially, whatever time I said we're playing is what time we were playing, which was great to have that type of I don't want to say power, but I was that point of friction on a lot of times when it came to playing basketball. Kind of fast forward a little bit. So we got a lot more people. We were only starting off with just Sundays. People played when I first got there. It got to a point where we were playing every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And I was, and my boy Jeremy came out to me. He's like, well, I see what you're doing with this. Is like, well, what if you can do that anywhere? And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of not being able to just go to any gym, not going to any park, and not knowing if someone's going to be there. How many times I've showed up and nobody was there, end up playing by myself. Man, I wish there was a way to be able to solve that problem. I was like, me too.
So let me explain to you So this is before you got to Iwakuni. So these are my original sketches. Can you see them?
Yeah. In no way am I saying that I'm sparked that idea or I'm taking credit. I hope you don't think I'm saying that.
Not at all. This is the reason I say this. So when I first got to Iwakuni, I got to Iwakuni on a Thursday. Mm-hmm. The first thing I did was I asked, where's the gym?
Right.
All I cared about. I went to the gym from 3 o'clock until 5:30 on Thursday, from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock on Friday, from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock on Saturday, and from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock on Sunday. Not a single soul walked in the gym. So I spent close to 10 to 12 hours in the gym up to my check-in day on that Monday.
Right.
I go to admin, Sergeant Armstrong says, checking me in, sees my tattoo and goes, "Oh, sir, you play basketball?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "We play all the time." And I said, "No, you don't." He goes, "Yeah, we play every day." I go, "I've literally been in the gym for 12 hours over the last 4 days and I haven't seen a single person walk in the gym." Come to find out, I missed all of them by like an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. I left at 5, they started at 6. I left at 2, they started at 3. And I was like, man, there's got to be a way for anybody that goes to a new area or is traveling, moves to a new area, is on vacation, is in a new area, to understand when and where people are playing in their local area, right?
Right.
So I went home, back to my barracks. I literally laid my phone down on a piece of paper. I traced it out, and I drew what I think should have been an app. That if something were to work this way, this is the landing page, this is page 1, this is page 1A, this is page 1B. I had no clue what I was doing. None at all. Come to find out, fast forward a few years, that's what's called a wireframe. Wireframe is a step-by-step process of this is what this page looks like, and this is what happens when you push this button. I had no idea. It's like 12 pages. That was it. But that's what I did. I said page 1A, page 1B, and I don't know how to draw. I'm drawing stick figures. I'm drawing stupid maps with like a star. Like none of this shit makes any sense. But I was like, this needs to be a thing. Now it was in 2013. I put that on the back burner, put it in a drawer, pretended like that shit didn't exist for a long time. So I was like, it is what it is. I don't know what to do or how to make that a thing.
Right.
A few years later, I meet you. I'm coming up on my transition out of Iwakuni, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna make my app. And at this point, it's my ex-wife and I. She didn't see it as a thing. I saw the vision and I saw it being how important it was. And there are some other apps that have tried it. There's some other apps that have attempted to solve this problem, but there's been a lot of missing links. And up to that point, I was like, whatever, I just want to do it. So I invest a healthy 5 figures to an Indian company to build the app. And it was the worst decision ever because I took the cheaper route. I tried to make it as cheap as possible, and it was so much extra work that it was so frustrating I quit. I was like, I can't do it with these guys anymore.
Oh no. Oh no.
It was right to the end. You saw it, Chris. It was so close to the finish line, but I was just like,
you knew I wasn't gonna let you, right? I was on your neck.
You were. I get that. And I appreciate it. I truly do. But like I couldn't deal with this company anymore. So I quit. Up to about 4.5 months ago, I brought it back out of a drawer. And I said, all right, I can't, yeah, correct. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop dreaming about it. Everywhere I go, I talk about it. So I upfront the money to a US company out of my town called Divine Digital. And these guys are absolutely incredible. They've taken 3 years of hard work that I did behind the scenes and exponentially made it better. And I take that as a learning experience. I take that as like, great. I paid a lot of money to a company to teach me the ins and outs of how to build an app. and the terminology, the physics, the logistics, the back end, the front end, it was a lot of stuff that I learned very fast, and I had to. So I was reading books, I was watching YouTube videos, I was reading blogs and forums and all of these places on the internet where you can find all of the information and all of the answers to all of the problems that you think you have. That's what I did for so many years by myself. And over the last few months, this team that I'm with now is so much better. And
what was their name?
It's called Divine Digital out of Naples, Florida. And you'll see that when you download the app, you'll see that their logo is in the bottom right corner, because I want them to be known that they're the ones that did the development of it. I don't know how to build an app. I don't know how to build an app. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to run a website. I don't know any of this, but I have an idea. And I took an idea and I turned it into a concept. And I turned a concept into a reality. And I trusted in myself and I believed in myself. And I backed myself with my own money. And I'm all in. And that's where I Got Next came from. I Got Next came from an idea that came into a concept, which went into a drawer, which came back out of a drawer, which is now on the doorsteps of being reality again.
Look at that. Just those because people think it's sweet when they talk about coming up with stuff, or people just got rich overnight. But when you start to see the backstory and like the actual planning and I'm sure you had nights where you were like pulling your hair out. You're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is so frustrating. It's not working.
Dude, right now I have sleepless nights still, and I see it coming to fruition. Like, this is 8 years in the making, and I have nights where I wake up in the middle of the night questioning. I live a very comfortable financial life right now.
Right.
Why am I putting myself out to not be as comfortable as I am right now? All of my money, Chris, all of it, my stocks, my TSP, my 401k, my Roth, my traditional, all of it I cashed out. All of it is going into I Got Next.
Damn.
I'm in. I will bet on me. I'll bet on me, my idea, my concept, my hard work. If that's a story that I tell you 3 years from now where I'm eating ramen noodles and living under a bridge, hey, it is what it is. But I'm all in. And sometimes that's what you have to do. Like, if you have an idea and you have a concept and you have a vision, put it on paper, make it logistical, make it actual, Chris, not just an actual story about you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got
Write it down, make a step-by-step, say this is step 1 through 3. When I get these done, this is what leads me to step 4. This is step 5. How do I get back to step 1? And I make that happen. If you just keep saying, oh, this is what I want to do, it's always going to be a 1. It's not going to be an actual thing. And
that's facts.
That's why I'm going to be holding it in your neck.
Oh.
Because I know what you want to do, but I'm not going to allow you to take a step back. Because I'm going to hold you responsible the way you held me responsible to get me to the point where I'm at now. I'm in your corner. I'm here for your support. And I love you for everything that you're doing. You just need to stay the line.
That's facts. That's absolute facts and true words coming from a friend. Absolutely.
That's it. I Got Next came from an idea because I knew that there was a problem. When and where can I find games to play in my area? This allows you to find when and where people are playing your favorite sports, 14 sports in your area or while you're traveling. Point blank, period.
So what do you think are going to be, I don't know how far in a deal, you know what? So this app is launching, what's the specific day?
The first week of June.
So the first week of June. So make sure you guys mark your calendars for the first week of June. Anybody that's a sports head or anyone that just like to support veterans, make sure you guys mark your calendars for the first week of June. That's when my boy's going to be launching his app, I Got Next. And what would be a tagline for I Got Next? So I know you kind of talked about when and where you can find it. Well, I guess that would kind of be the tagline. Yeah.
Where people are playing your favorite sports in your area. That's it.
Okay, and I think what we'll do is on the next one that we have, we're going to break down a little bit more in the details, specifically about I Got Next, obviously, with his permission and with his time permitting. But we'll talk a little bit more in specific about, a little bit more about the planning that went into I Got Next and also what the overall outcome expectancy is. Common questions, things that people may be skeptical about, so on and so forth. How much does it cost? Can I download it on my iPhone? Can I download it on my old school pager? Where you can find this thing at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I would also like to help people if they have questions about how do they take their ideas to the next level. Like, how did I start it? Where did I go in order to take an idea to a concept into implementation into a reality? Like, how do you do that? I didn't know, but I do now. And I'd be more than willing to give all of the learning curve that I took for years up to this point and to learn technology. You don't need to learn to do the things that you think you need to do. So, for instance, I have a friend who has a podcast, and for years he kept all of his podcasts in a drawer because he didn't know how to edit the audio. He didn't know how to mix and master the audio with other things. And I said, do you want to be an editor or do you want to be a producer? Because if you want to be an editor, that's great. If not, outsource your audio to someone that can fix
facts.
it. Don't do the things you don't want to do. Pay someone else to do it. There are people out there that are willing to do it for super cheap these days. They'll do it from their house.
No, that's an absolute fact. And honestly, because of you, I actually learned that lesson, and it's helped me to help project, help to push my channel out.
Yeah.
Oh, so my boy actually just hit you up. He said, can I make you a shirt? I Got Next.
Yeah, for sure. Tell him to shoot me a message.
Hey.
Actually, I have a couple shirts ideas that I need. So yeah, shoot me your information.
Hey, there you go, Anthony. Once again, veterans talking to veterans, baby.
Yeah, shoot me an email, gravesjeremy10@gmail.com or staff@igotnextsports.com, whichever.
Hey, Anthony, if you have any questions about that, just send me a message and I'll send you his information as well. So I'm glad to see veterans linking up with each other, supporting each other for different services that we do. That goes a true testimony that, if you support those that are around you, is the best way to getting support for yourself. It's kind of the whole lead from the front mentality.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Jeremy, I truly appreciate, taking the time to put some wisdom out here on the platform. And as you have seen how veteran influence has kind of developed over time, you can see we're trying to get more specific on certain topics that are going to help veterans actually transition out of the military, and even before transitioning, actually setting themselves up with what they're going to do for when they actually do transition out, i.e. becoming an entrepreneur while they're still active duty. You see a lot of people are getting into real estate right now while they're active duty. And I always thought, why wait for 20 years until you retire when you could be working on your second retirement now?
I agree. So this is what I would say on the next time you and I get together. What I'll do is I'll do a screen share of freelancer.com.
I was literally just thinking that.
And I'll walk people through just a basic how to find someone to do whatever it is that you have in mind. Make an app, make a logo, edit your audio, have whoever it is that wants to send a question. How do I do? You fill in the blank, and I'll walk you through how I would do it if I had to start over again. And I would do a freelancer.com, super cheap, or a Fiverr, or one of those freelancer websites. Post it, find somebody that would be potentially able to do it for a cheap price, and then that's where I would go. And then the steps from there. I'll help
Yep.
someone figure that out.
Yo, so remember how I told you that I had messaged OT and Tim about, I shared the video with them?
Yeah.
Hold on, I didn't see the whole thing yet, but Tim said, tell Graves that I need him to make a shirt that says, I got next, because that's what he would say all day, every Sunday when we run his ass off the court. So, yeah. Yo, why is he violating? You know we're live, Tim. Come on. Why are you violating, bro?
He must have forgot who I am because that didn't happen to me on Sundays.
Yeah, it's that retirement life, you know what I'm saying? It's like he let that the Georgia water get to his head.
That's it. No, it's fine. I'm
No.
old, man. I can only play like 1 or 2 games. That was it. And that's where the name came from. I knew I was sitting on the sideline a couple times. I just got to take it.
See? I got next too.
I got it next.
Nah, man, but like I said, much love. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to jump on the platform. Definitely going to have you on here in the future.
We'll do it
And-
again in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we have to. We got to talk about that grand opening. So tomorrow, I actually have an interview with he was my prior company commander when I was at Kilo Company on the drill field. I don't know if he's still if he's still on the reserves right now, but he's a major. His name is Kalani Kreutzberg, and he actually has he's opening a business next weekend on the 23rd called ADU Geeks. So he's getting his own building, grand opening, and everything. So we're gonna be talking about that a little bit tomorrow at 1500 Pacific time. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing big things. Hey, I appreciate you, my guy. Like I said, if you ever need anything, I'm only a message away, a call away, or whatever. And best believe I'm gonna be spreading the word about your app.
Yeah, for sure. It'll happen. It's
A
gonna-
life changer.
It's going to change the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, man, and we'll definitely be on soon.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother. Peace.